The stars looked wrong from inside the gravitational anomaly. They stretched and bent like reflections in broken glass. Commander Thylene of the Zalathi Confederacy stared at the twisted view through her ship's main screen. 7 of the galaxy's most advanced vessels floated helplessly around her flagship, all trapped in the same invisible prison. "Status report," she said, though she already knew the answer would be bad. "Quantum drives are completely offline," her engineering officer replied. His blue skin had turned pale gray with worry. "We have used all our exotic matter trying to break free. Life support will fail in 12 days. Thylene closed her 4 eyes and thought hard. The fleet had been exploring the edge of known space when they encountered the anomaly. What seemed like a simple gravitational distortion had pulled them in like quicksand. The more they fought it, the deeper they sank. "Have we received any response from the rescue ships?" she asked. "The Korvax Union says their ships cannot reach us without being pulled in themselves. The Etherian Collective's energy beings cannot survive in this type of gravitational field. The others?" The communications officer paused. "The others say it is impossible." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what impossible meant. It meant they would die here. 7 ships carrying the best scientists and explorers of the Zalathi Confederacy. Their families would never know what happened to them. In the council chambers on the other side of the galaxy, Elder Vexara faced the assembled representatives of 42 civilized species. Her ancient voice echoed through the crystal dome as she presented the facts about the stranded fleet. "We have exhausted all conventional options," she said. "Our most advanced ships cannot penetrate the anomaly. Our greatest scientists cannot solve the gravitational equations. In 6 days, life support will begin to fail. In 12 days, everyone aboard those ships will be dead. Then we must accept this loss," said Ambassador Prettalk of the Velian Empire. "Sometimes space takes what it wants. We all know this risk. There is one option we have not tried," Vexara said slowly. The chamber grew quiet. "The humans." Several ambassadors laughed. Others made sounds of disbelief. The humans had only discovered faster-than-light travel 30 years ago. They still used nuclear weapons. Their ships were held together with primitive materials. They had barely managed to colonize their own solar system without destroying themselves. The humans? Prettalk's voice dripped with disdain. They still use combustion engines. Their medical technology involves cutting people open with metal blades. What could they possibly do that we cannot? "Perhaps," Vexara said carefully. "That is exactly why we should ask them. They think differently. They solve problems in ways we would never consider." Ambassador Kreltalk of the Zenthari stood up. His tall insect-like form towered over the others. "I volunteer to make contact with Earth. I have studied their history. They have a saying, 'Necessity is the mother of invention.' They excel when facing impossible situations." "They also have another saying," Prettalk countered. "Hold my beer and watch this. Usually spoken before someone dies in a spectacular fashion." "Yes," Kreltalk agreed. "But sometimes they succeed in ways that defy all logic. Remember the human colony ship that lost its navigation system and flew manually for 6 months using star positions? Or the mining crew that survived an asteroid collision by sealing hull breaches with frozen human waste?" The council murmured. These stories had become famous throughout the galaxy. Humans were either incredibly lucky or incredibly stupid. Nobody was quite sure which. "We lose nothing by asking," Vexara decided. "Ambassador Kreltalk, you have permission to approach Earth. But please try not to start a war." 3 days later, Kreltalk's diplomatic vessel appeared in Earth's orbit. The human orbital station scrambled to respond. They had received alien visitors before, but never an official Galactic Council ambassador. Admiral James Patterson met Kreltalk in the station's diplomatic bay. The human looked small next to the 3-meter-tall alien, but his handshake was firm. "Ambassador, welcome to Earth orbit. How can we help you?" Kreltalk had rehearsed this moment. He had studied human psychology, and knew they responded better to direct communication than the elaborate ceremonial greetings preferred by most species. "Admiral Patterson, I come with an unusual request. The Galactic Council needs humanity's help." Patterson's eyebrows rose. "The council that rejected our membership application 5 times?" "The very same," Kreltalk admitted. "We have a situation that requires unconventional thinking." He explained about the stranded fleet, the gravitational anomaly, and the failed rescue attempts. Patterson listened without interrupting, occasionally nodding. When Kreltalk finished, the human was quiet for a long moment. So let me understand this, Patterson said. Your best ships can't get in. Your smartest people can't figure it out. And now with time running out, you want to see what the crazy humans can come up with? That is essentially correct, Patterson grinned. It was the kind of grin that made most aliens nervous. Ambassador, you just made my day. Nobody's ever officially asked us to be crazy before. Within 6 hours, Earth's emergency response team had assembled. The conference room was chaos. Engineers argued over blueprints. Physicists covered whiteboards with equations. Someone had brought pizza. Another person was building a model using paper clips and rubber bands. All right, people, listen up. Patterson called for attention. We have 7 alien ships stuck in a gravitational anomaly. Best tech in the galaxy can't get them out. They're asking if we have any ideas. Do we have specifications for their ships? Asked Captain Sarah Chen, one of Earth's most experienced rescue pilots. Right here, Patterson displayed the data. Each ship is about 2 kilometers long, powered by quantum drives we don't really understand, made of materials we can't pronounce. That's their first problem, said Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez, studying the designs. Look at this. Triple redundant everything. 4 backup systems for each backup system. These things are so over-engineered they probably can't adapt to anything unexpected. What about the anomaly? Asked Dr. Lisa Park, a physicist who had spent years studying gravitational fields. It's like a whirlpool in space, Patterson explained. The more energy you use trying to escape, the stronger it pulls. The room went quiet as everyone thought. Then Rodriguez spoke up. What if we don't try to escape? What do you mean? Patterson asked. I mean, what if we go in with them? Work from the inside? That's suicide, Park said. No, wait, Chen interrupted. He might be onto something. Look, every rescue attempt has tried to pull them out from the outside. What if we go in, link up with their ships and find a different way? Using what? Patterson asked. We don't have exotic matter or quantum drives. Rodriguez grinned. No, but we have nuclear warheads, mining equipment, and a whole lot of cable. Plus, Johnson over there literally has a brewery on his yacht. How is beer going to help? Krell asked. He had been quietly observing from the corner. It's not about the beer, Rodriguez explained. It's about the fermentation equipment. I bet we can modify it to produce some interesting chemical reactions with their fuel systems. You want to hack their fuel with brewery equipment? Krell translator struggled with the concept. Among other things, Chen said. She was already sketching plans. We'll need 3 mining vessels for their magnetic equipment, at least 1 military ship for the weapon systems, and... Yeah, Johnson's yacht might actually be useful. This is insane, Park said. Thank you, Rodriguez replied. That's how we know it might work. Patterson looked at the assembled team. They were already dividing into groups, arguing about details, sketching impossible plans. This was humanity at its best and worst. Faced with certain death, they got excited. Ambassador, Patterson turned to Krell. Tell the council we accept their invitation. But warn them, our solution probably won't follow any safety protocols. Krell watched the humans work. They were using napkins for blueprints. Someone had started welding in the corner without proper authorization. Another person was calculating gravitational forces using a video game physics engine. Admiral, Krell said slowly, the council wanted me to invite you to save the fleet, but I'm beginning to think we may have invited something else entirely. Patterson clapped him on what might have been a shoulder. Ambassador, you asked for human help. You're about to learn why that's both the best and worst decision you could make. As Krell prepared his report for the council, he could hear the humans in the next room. Someone had just suggested using controlled explosive decompression as a propulsion method. Instead of rejecting this clearly dangerous idea, the others were helping refine it. The galaxy had asked for humanity's particular brand of insanity. They were about to receive it in full measure. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the mining vessel Rockbreaker and looked at her rescue fleet. It was not impressive. 3 mining ships that had seen better days, 1 military cruiser that Earth's Navy didn't want anymore, and a luxury yacht that belonged to Thomas Johnson, a billionaire who got rich selling toilet paper. This is what we're taking to save the galaxy's most advanced fleet? Her first officer, David Kim, asked. Apparently, Chen replied. She activated the communication system. All ships, this is Chen. Final equipment check. Mining vessel drill baby drill here, came the first response. We've got magnetic grapples, cutting torches, and about 6 kilometers of industrial cable. Also, someone packed 50 boxes of duct tape. Only 50, Chen asked. We grabbed more from the station. Now we have 200 boxes. Better. Cruiser stubborn bastard, what's your status? Captain Morrison here. We've got 40 nuclear warheads, standard missiles, and our engineers have been working on something they call aggressive modifications to our weapons. I don't want to know the details. Probably wise, Mr. Johnson, what about your yacht? The expensive mistake is ready. Johnson's cheerful voice came through. I've got the brewery equipment you wanted, plus some interesting chemicals from my personal lab. Did you know you can make rocket fuel from vodka and alien plant fertilizer? How do you know that? Kim asked, trial and error. Lost some eyebrows in the process. Chen shook her head. This was her fleet, 5 ships held together by hope and probably too much duct tape. The Galactic Council representatives on the station had watched them prepare with expressions of horror and fascination. Rodriguez, is your special project ready? Chen asked. Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez appeared on screen, his face covered in grease. Behind him, his team was welding something that looked like a giant harpoon to the rockbreaker's hull. The universal docking adapter is ready, he said proudly. It should connect to any alien ship. Should? Well, we can't test it without an alien ship. But the math checks out mostly. What do you mean mostly? I mean Johnson helped with the calculations after his vodka experiment, so there might be a small margin of error. Before Chen could respond, Ambassador Kreltok's face appeared on the communication screen. The alien looked worried. Captain Chen, the Council is having second thoughts. They've reviewed your plan and they say it violates approximately 400 safety regulations. Only 400? Rodriguez seemed disappointed. We can do better than that. This is not a joke, Kreltok said. Your plan involves flying directly into the anomaly. The Council says this is suicide. No, Chen corrected. Suicide is doing nothing and letting those people die. This is a calculated risk. You calculated a 13% chance of success. Exactly. That's pretty good odds for a human operation. Kreltok made a sound that his translator couldn't convert. It was probably an alien Psi. The Council wants to add an observer to your mission, he said. Someone to report back on your methods. Fine, Chen agreed. But they travel on Johnson's yacht. It's the safest ship. How is the yacht the safest? Kreltok asked. It's the only one we haven't filled with explosives. 3 hours later, the human fleet left Earth's orbit. Observer Zekval from the Galactic Council sat in Johnson's yacht, surrounded by luxury and brewery equipment. The small purple alien had 6 eyes and all of them were wide with fear. Mr. Johnson, Zekval said carefully, why is there a nuclear warhead in your wine cellar? Oh, that's just a spare, Johnson said casually. Morrison gave it to me in case we need extra boom. Extra? Boom? You know, if the first explosions don't work. Zekval's translator struggled with the concept. In most civilized languages, there was no casual term for nuclear explosions. The journey to the anomaly took 3 days at maximum speed. During that time, the human crews made modifications that gave Zekval nightmares. They removed safety systems to make room for more equipment. They connected ships together with cables in ways that violated basic engineering principles. Someone had welded a coffee machine to a weapons console because we need caffeine for the rescue. When they finally reached the anomaly, even the humans went quiet. It was beautiful and terrifying. Space itself seemed to twist and fold. Stars stretched into long lines of light. The trapped alien fleet was visible in the center, dark shapes against the swirling chaos. Sensor readings are all over the place, Kim reported. Gravity is fluctuating between normal and about 20 times Earth standard. Can our ships handle that? Chen asked. Probably not, Rodriguez answered cheerfully. But they only need to last long enough. Long enough for what? To do something stupid enough to work. Chen opened a channel to all ships. All right, everyone. Remember the plan. We go in fast and hard. No hesitation. If you start thinking about how dangerous this is, you've already lost. Captain Chen, Commander Thylene's voice came through the communication system, weak but clear. This is the Zalathi fleet. We see you on our sensors. Please do not attempt to enter the anomaly. You'll be trapped like us. With respect, Commander, being trapped is step 1 of our plan, Chen replied. Step 1? What's step 2? We're still working on that. There was silence from the alien fleet. She's joking, Rodriguez said over the comm. Step 2 is where we break physics. That's not reassuring, Thylene responded. The rockbreaker moved toward the anomaly's edge. Chen felt the ship shake as gravitational forces grabbed it. All ships maintain formation, she ordered. Johnson, stay back until we signal. Roger that. I'll keep Observer Zekval company. He looks like he might faint. I don't faint, Zekval protested weakly. My species enters a protective coma when faced with extreme terror. The 3 mining vessels and the cruiser pushed forward. The anomaly pulled at them, trying to tear them apart. Metal groaned. Lights flickered. Someone in engineering was singing an old Earth battle song. Gravity is spiking, Kim shouted. 15 times normal. 18, 22. Hold together. Baby, Chen whispered to her ship. They pushed through the worst of it, and suddenly they were inside, in the relatively calm center where the alien fleet floated. We made it, Morrison's voice came through, though I think we lost some hull plating. Hull plating is optional, Rodriguez said. As long as we keep air inside, we're good. Chen looked at the alien fleet through her view screen. 7 massive ships, each one a masterpiece of engineering, all completely helpless. Commander Thylene, request permission to board. Captain Chen, you're insane, Thylene replied. Permission granted. Rodriguez and his engineering teams prepared to transfer to the alien vessels. They loaded their equipment onto shuttles. Welding torches, duct tape, nuclear warheads, and things that looked suspiciously like kitchen appliances. What's that? Zekval asked Johnson, pointing at the screen showing the equipment transfer. I think that's a microwave oven. Why would they need a microwave oven? With Rodriguez, it's better not to ask. The engineering teams reached the first alien vessel. Rodriguez stood in the airlock looking at the sophisticated alien technology. Oh boy, he said to his team. Look at this. Everything is quantumly entangled and uses 11 dimensions of math. Can we fix it? One of his engineers asked. Fix it? No, but we can definitely make it do something it was never meant to do. On the alien bridge, Thylene watched the humans swarm over her ship's systems. They pulled panels off walls. They connected cables in configurations that shouldn't exist. One human was hitting something with a hammer. Why is he hitting my quantum processor with a primitive tool? She asked. Percussive maintenance, Chen explained. Sometimes things work better after you hit them. That's not how quantum processors work. It is now. Rodriguez appeared on the bridge, carrying what looked like a car battery and a strand of Christmas lights. Commander, I need to ask you something important, he said to Thylene. Are you emotionally attached to your ship working the way it was designed? What kind of question is that? The kind I ask before I break everything to save your life. Thylene looked at the human engineer. His face was serious despite his casual words. Do what you must, she said. Rodriguez grinned. You might want to tell your crew to hold on to something. This is going to get bumpy. As Rodriguez and his teams worked on the alien ships, Chen coordinated from the rockbreaker. The plan was taking shape, and it was even crazier than the aliens feared. So let me understand, Thylene said over the comm. You're going to connect all our ships together with mining cables, override our quantum drives with your primitive nuclear reactors, and then use explosions to push us out? You forgot the best part, Chen said. There's more. We're going to use the anomaly itself as a power source. We're not fighting it anymore. We're going to ride it like a wave. That's impossible. That's what makes it fun. Observer Zekval watched from the yacht, documenting everything for the Council. His report would later become required reading at the Galactic Academy, though it was filed under things that should never work but did. The human rescue had begun in earnest, and the galaxy would never be the same. Rodriguez stood inside the main engineering section of the Zalathi flagship, surrounded by technology that looked like it was designed by someone who had never heard of straight lines. Everything curved and flowed, with surfaces that shifted between solid and translucent. His team of 12 engineers stood behind him, carrying equipment that would make any safety inspector cry. All right, people, Rodriguez said. This is quantum drive technology. It works by folding space through 11 dimensions using exotic matter we don't have. So how do we fix it? Asked Maria Santos, his second in command. We don't. We're going to bypass it entirely and hook it up to good old-fashioned nuclear power. The Zalathi chief engineer, a being named Wextor with crystal-like skin, made a sound of horror. You cannot connect nuclear fission to a quantum system. The energy patterns are incompatible. You're right, Rodriguez agreed. That's why we're using this. He held up what looked like a modified microwave oven with cables coming out of it. What is that device? It's a microwave I rewired to create a frequency buffer. It'll translate the nuclear energy into something your quantum drives can digest. Probably. Probably. Well, there's a chance it might explode. But a small chance. Wextor's skin turned from blue to pale white. Define small. Maybe 30%. 30% chance of explosion? Oh no, 30% chance it works perfectly. 40% chance of small explosions we can manage. 30% chance of big explosion. That adds up to 100% explosions or success. Exactly. Those are great odds. Meanwhile, on the mining vessel Drill Baby Drill, Captain Morrison was explaining his part of the plan to his weapons team. We're going to create controlled gravitational pulses using nuclear detonations, he said, pointing at a diagram that looked like it was drawn by a child with too much sugar. Sir, that's not how gravity works, one of his officers said. It is if we detonate them in sequence around the anomaly's resonance points. How do we find the resonance points? Morrison grinned. We blow things up until we find them. Back on the yacht, Observer Zekval was trying to document everything while Johnson mixed chemicals in his brewery equipment. Mr. Johnson, what exactly are you making? Zekval asked. Remember how I said you can make rocket fuel from vodka and fertilizer? Well, I'm making something better. If we mix the Zalathi fuel residue with fermented grain alcohol and add just a touch of this catalyst, a small explosion shook the yacht. Too much catalyst, Johnson noted calmly, wiping soot off his face. Let me try again. Please don't, Zekval begged. No, I've got it now. We just need less boom juice and more zoom juice. Those are not scientific terms. They are now. On the rockbreaker, Chen was coordinating the cable deployment. The 3 mining vessels were shooting magnetic cables between all the ships, creating a web that connected the entire fleet. Cable 7 secure, Kim reported. But Captain, this configuration is insane. We're basically turning 13 ships into one giant unstable mass. That's the idea, Chen said. Rodriguez, how's the power conversion coming? Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm, accompanied by the sound of electrical sparking. Great, we've only had 2 small fires and 1 medium explosion. Anyone hurt? No, but Wextor fainted. His species apparently shuts down when they see too many safety violations at once. Commander Thylene appeared on Chen's screen. The alien commander looked deeply concerned. Captain Chen, my engineers are reporting that the humans are singing while they work. Yeah, that's normal. They probably feel good about the progress. They're singing something about another one bites the dust while connecting nuclear weapons to our life support systems. Oh, that's just Williams. He has an interesting sense of humor. This is humor. Chen thought about it. For humans working with dangerous stuff, yes. If they stop singing, that's when you worry. The work continued for 6 hours. During that time, the human engineers performed what the aliens would later call technological blasphemy. They connected systems that were never meant to touch. They used duct tape to seal quantum processors. Someone had actually hammered a nail through a dimensional stabilizer to mount a power cable. Status report, Chen called out. Drill baby drill here, came the response. We've got all our magnetic equipment online, ready to create the biggest electromagnetic field you've ever seen. Stubborn bastard ready, Morrison added. Nuclear packages are deployed around the anomaly perimeter. We can start the fireworks whenever you want. Expensive mistake here, Johnson chimed in. I've successfully created about 50 gallons of what I'm calling space juice. It's either going to give us the best fuel boost ever, or melt through the hull. It won't melt through the hull, Rodriguez interrupted. I tested it. It only melts through most metals. The hull is fine, probably. Chen looked at the tactical display. All ships were now connected by a web of cables. The alien vessels had human modifications that would give their designers nightmares for years. Nuclear weapons floated at strategic points around them. Commander Thylene, are your people ready? Captain Chen, I need to be honest. Nothing about this plan makes sense. You violated every law of physics we know. That's because we're using human physics now. That's not a real thing. It is if it works. Rodriguez's voice came through again. Captain, I need everyone to know something important. When we activate this system, there's going to be a lot of noise, shaking, and probably some explosions. How do we know which explosions are planned and which are problems? Thylene asked. The planned ones will be bigger. That's not reassuring. Also, Rodriguez continued, we've had to disable most of the safety systems. So if anyone sees warning lights, just ignore them. Ignore warning lights. Wextor had apparently woken up. Those lights prevent catastrophic failure. No, they tell you about catastrophic failure. There's a difference. If we don't see the warnings, we won't worry about them. Chen activated the fleet-wide communication. All ships, all crews, this is Captain Chen. We're about to do something that's never been done before. It's going to be dangerous, probably stupid, and definitely against regulations. But it might just work, and if it doesn't work, someone asked, then we'll be the most spectacular failure in galactic history. Either way, we're making history today. She looked at her tactical display one more time. The gravitational readings were getting worse. They had maybe 6 hours before the anomaly started crushing the ships. Rodriguez, start the power conversion. Roger that. Everyone might want to hold on to something. The modified microwave ovens activated across the alien fleet. Nuclear reactors that had been hastily welded to quantum drives began pumping energy through systems that were never designed for it. The alien ship's lights flickered and flashed in patterns that looked like a disco from hell. It's working, Rodriguez shouted. The quantum drives are accepting the power. They're not happy about it, but they're taking it. Define not happy, Tylene said. Well, they're making a noise like angry bees and glowing purple, but that's probably fine. Johnson's voice cut in. Ready to add the space juice to the fuel mix. Fair warning, I have no idea what this will do. That's the human motto, Zekval muttered, still documenting everything. The brewery equipment pumped Johnson's chemical mixture into the fuel systems. The reaction was immediate. The engines across the fleet roared to life with a sound that shouldn't exist in vacuum, but somehow did. Holy shit, Morrison said. Did we just give the ship steroids? Better, Johnson replied. I think we gave them the spaceship equivalent of espresso mixed with energy drinks. Chen watched the power readings spike across the board. The alien ships were producing more energy than they ever had before. It was probably shortening their operational lifespan by decades, but they only needed to work for the next hour. Morrison, prepare the nuclear packages. Rodriguez, are the magnetic systems ready? Ready as they'll ever be, Rodriguez replied. Which isn't very ready, but it's what we've got. Good enough. Everyone strap in. We're about to turn physics into our playground. The connected fleet began to move as one massive object. The cables groaned but held. The modified engines screamed but continued working. The anomaly pulled at them, trying to drag them deeper. Gravity is increasing, Kim warned. We're approaching the point of no return. Perfect, Chen said. Morrison, light the fireworks. With pleasure. Detonation in 3, 2, 1. The first nuclear explosion lit up the anomaly like a Christmas tree. The gravitational field wavered, confused by the sudden energy input. It's working. Park's voice came through from Earth, where she was monitoring the readings. You're creating gravitational waves that are interfering with the anomaly. Great, do it again, Chen ordered. Already on it, Morrison replied, setting off packages 2 through 10. The space around them became a symphony of nuclear fire. Each explosion pushed against the anomaly's grip, creating pockets of normal space that the fleet could move through. Now for the fun part, Rodriguez announced, activating magnetic field generators. The mining ship's equipment roared to life, creating an electromagnetic field that surrounded the entire fleet. It reacted with the gravitational waves from the explosions, producing an effect that nobody had predicted. Captain, Kim said. According to these readings, we're surfing. The connected fleet hung in space like a broken constellation. They were free from the anomaly, but barely. Ships leaked atmosphere from a dozen hull breaches. Cables that connected them sparked with electrical fires. The Zalathi flagship's quantum drive made sounds like a dying whale, if whales were made of crystallized mathematics. Damage report, Chen ordered, though she could see most of it through her cracked view screen. Where do I start? Kim replied. We've lost 40% of our hull plating. The main engine is held together by duct tape and prayers. Life support is working, but it's making a weird smell. What kind of smell? Like burned rubber mixed with existential dread. That's just Rodriguez's cooking. What about the other ships? The reports came in one by one. Every ship was damaged, some critically, but everyone was alive, which was more than they had any right to expect. Commander Tylene's face appeared on the screen. Her usually perfect blue skin was covered in soot, and one of her 4 eyes was twitching. Captain Chen, we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council. They want to know what happened. The explosion was detected 3 systems away. Tell them we succeeded. They're asking for details. Chen looked at Rodriguez, who was using chewing gum to seal a coolant leak. Tell them we used aggressive negotiation with the laws of physics. Elder Vexara's ancient face appeared on the main screen, broadcasted to all ships. Her expression was unreadable. Captain Chen, the energy signature we detected was consistent with 40 nuclear detonations and a complete breakdown of local space-time. Please explain. Well, we had to make some noise to get out, Chen said casually. You detonated 40 nuclear weapons? Technically, Morrison detonated them. I just gave the order. Captain Morrison? Vexara turned her attention to the cruiser's commander. Is this true? Morrison appeared on screen, his uniform singed and his face covered in ash. Yes, ma'am. 40 nuclear weapons in a synchronized pattern. It was beautiful. Beautiful? Like the universe's biggest fireworks show, but with more gravitational distortion. Vexara was silent for a long moment. And the reports that you connected incompatible technologies using
kitchen appliances?
Rodriguez raised his hand. That was me. The microwave ovens worked perfectly as frequency buffers. Well, mostly perfectly. We did lose 2 of them to spontaneous combustion. You lost microwaves to combustion while using them in quantum drives? Just 2. The other 10 worked fine. 10? You put 10 microwave ovens into quantum drives? 11, actually. But 1 was just for making popcorn. The crew gets hungry during rescues. Observer Zekoval transmitted his preliminary report to the council. His purple skin had turned almost white from stress. Honored council, I have witnessed the impossible. The humans succeeded through methods that can only be described as organized chaos. They used nuclear weapons as propulsion. Connected quantum drives to nuclear reactors using food preparation equipment, and created fuel from fermented grain alcohol. Surely you exaggerate, Ambassador Prettalk interrupted. I have video evidence, though I warn you, viewing it may cause psychological distress. Play it, Vexara ordered. The main screen showed Rodriguez hammering a nail through a quantum processor while singing. It showed Morrison calculating explosion patterns on a napkin. It showed Johnson pouring his space juice into fuel tanks while the mixture ate through his gloves. It showed Chen ordering maximum boom with a grin on her face. The council chamber was silent. Furthermore, Zekval continued, when told that their plan had a 13% chance of success, the humans considered those good odds, 13%. Prettalk's voice was weak. Actually, Park's voice came through from Earth where she'd been monitoring. After reviewing the data, it was closer to 8%. 8%? Chen turned to look at her communication screen. Park, you said 13. I rounded up to avoid worrying you. You lied about our chances of survival? I optimistically adjusted the numbers. There's a difference, Rodriguez laughed. 8%? That's a new record. Usually our plans have like a 5% chance. This is madness, Prettalk said. No. Krelltalk, who had been silent until now, spoke up. This is humanity. They saw a 13% chance, 8% chance, where we saw 0, and they took it. The debate in the council chamber grew heated. Some members were horrified by the humans' methods. Others were impressed by the results. Thylene's voice cut through the arguing. Honored council, may I speak? Commander Thylene, you were there. What is your assessment? Thylene straightened her uniform, which was held together by duct tape where it had torn. The humans are insane. Their methods are dangerous. They violated every safety protocol we have. The human crews deflated slightly. However, Thylene continued, they also saved every life in my fleet. When our best technology failed, when our greatest minds saw no solution, the humans looked at death and said, let's try something stupid. And it worked. But at what cost? Prettalk demanded. Look at the damage to your ships. Ships can be repaired, Thylene replied. The dead cannot be brought back. I would rather have a damaged fleet and living crew than perfect ships floating as tombs. Chen felt a warmth in her chest. The alien commander understood. If I may, Johnson's voice came through. He was still in his yacht, which ironically was the least damaged ship. You asked us for help because we think differently. Then you're upset because we think differently. You can't have it both ways. Mr. Johnson, Vexara said slowly, you are a civilian who brought a yacht full of brewery equipment to a rescue mission. And that brewery equipment helped create fuel that gave us the boost we needed to escape. Your point? My point is, I don't have a point. This entire situation has broken my ability to form logical arguments. Welcome to working with humans. Kreltok said dryly. Morrison's weapons officer spoke up. Excuse me, but we still have a problem. We're all connected by cables and floating in the middle of nowhere. Half the ships can't move under their own power. Oh, right, Chen said. We should probably fix that. Rodriguez, can we safely disconnect the cables? Safely? No, but we can disconnect them. What's unsafe about it? Well, some of the cables are the only thing holding hull breaches closed. If we disconnect them, we'll need to seal those breaches first. With what? Rodriguez held up a roll of duct tape. You want to seal hull breaches with tape? Wextor, the Zalathi engineer, sounded faint. Really good tape, Rodriguez clarified. Industrial grade. It's held the rockbreaker together for 3 years. Your ship has been held together by tape for 3 years? Just parts of it. The important parts use welding, usually. It took another 6 hours to separate the ship safely. The human engineers swarmed over each vessel, patching holes with a combination of duct tape, metal plates, and something Rodriguez called space putty, but refused to identify. During the repairs, something unexpected happened. The alien crews began to help, learning human repair methods. A Zalathi engineer was taught percussive maintenance and successfully fixed a computer by hitting it. A Korvax technician learned to use duct tape and declared it the most useful technology humans have created. Commander, one of Thylene's officers reported, the humans are teaching our crew something they call emergency fixes. What kind of fixes? Apparently, if something is broken, you can make it work temporarily by bypassing all safety systems and hoping for the best. That's not a fix. That's a gamble. The humans call it good enough for now. As the repairs continued, Chen received a private message from Admiral Patterson on Earth. Chen, the Council is losing their minds. They're saying you've revolutionized space rescue by completely ignoring how space rescue is supposed to work. Is that good or bad? Depends. They want to give you a medal for bravery and arrest you for reckless endangerment at the same time. Sounds about right. How are the aliens handling it? Chen looked around her bridge. A Zalathi engineer was helping Kim seal a crack with chewing gum. Through the window, she could see Morrison's crew teaching alien sailors how to play cards while floating in zero gravity. I think we're corrupting them, sir. Good. The galaxy could use some human corruption. The fleet slowly came back online. The ships would need proper repairs at a shipyard, but they could move. The journey to the nearest station would take a week at their damaged speed, but they would make it. Captain Chen, Thylene called. Before we depart, my crew has something for you. The view screen showed the Zalathi crew gathered on their bridge. They were holding a banner made from emergency blankets and marked with what looked like equations. We calculated the actual odds of your plan succeeding, Thylene explained. It was not 8%. Lower? Chen asked. 0.3%. The human crews went silent. You saved us with a plan that had a 0.3% chance of success? Thylene asked. Well, Chen said slowly, we didn't know that at the time. Would it have mattered? Chen thought about it. She looked at Rodriguez, who shrugged. She looked at Morrison, who grinned. She looked at Johnson, who was already mixing more chemicals. Probably not, she admitted. The Zalathi crew did something their species rarely did. They laughed. It started small but grew until the entire alien bridge was filled with the sound. Captain Chen, Thylene said through her laughter, your species is absolutely insane. Sanctuary Station had seen many things in its 1,000-year history, but never a fleet held together by duct tape and determination. The dock workers, representing 15 different species, stood in shocked silence as the human-modified ships powered down. One worker, a 6-armed Altarian, dropped his tools when he saw a microwave oven welded to the outside of a quantum drive housing. What happened to these ships? The station master, a crystalline being named Zarlok, asked through the communication system. Humans happened, Commander Thylene replied simply. Is that a new type of weapon? No, it's a rescue method, apparently. The news of the rescue spread through the galaxy faster than light itself. Every news network wanted interviews. Scientists demanded to study the modifications. Military strategists wanted to understand the tactical applications of aggressive engineering. 3 days after arriving at Sanctuary Station, Captain Chen found herself standing before the full Galactic Council assembly. The massive chamber held representatives from every spacefaring civilization, thousands of eyes, optical sensors, and other sensory organs focused on her. Elder Vexara spoke first. Captain Sarah Chen of Earth, you stand before us to give full account of the rescue mission. Please explain in detail how you succeeded where our best minds failed. Chen looked around the chamber. So many alien faces expecting a complex scientific explanation. She decided to give them the truth instead. We didn't know it was impossible, she said simply. The chamber erupted in confused murmurs. Please elaborate, Vexera requested. Your ships, your technology, your scientists, they're all brilliant. Maybe too brilliant. You've spent so long learning what can't be done that you forgot to try doing it anyway. Ambassador Pretok stood up. Are you saying ignorance is an advantage? No. I'm saying sometimes the best solution is the stupid one nobody else would try. Rodriguez had been invited to present the technical details. He stood up with a laptop that looked like it had survived several explosions because it had. If I may demonstrate, he said, connecting his laptop to the chamber's display system. This is a quantum drive. A beautiful, complex hologram appeared, and this is what we did to it. The next image showed the same drive with modifications that looked like a child's art project. Wires everywhere, microwave ovens attached at odd angles, something that might have been a coffee maker welded to the power core. This is vandalism, shouted someone from the Etherean section. This is problem solving, Rodriguez corrected. Your quantum drive needed exotic matter to function. We didn't have exotic matter, but we had nuclear reactors and microwave ovens. The microwaves created a frequency buffer that translated nuclear energy into something the quantum system could use. That's impossible. Your own ship's logs show it worked. Dr. Park had also been brought from Earth to explain the gravitational wave surfing. Her presentation was more traditional, full of equations and models. By detonating nuclear weapons in a specific pattern, we created gravitational waves. The magnetic fields from the mining ship's equipment interacted with these waves, creating a resonance effect. This allowed the connected fleet to ride the waves out of the anomaly. A Velian scientist stood up. Your math is wrong. You forgot to carry the graviton constant in equation 47. Park looked at her calculations. You're right. The math is wrong. Then how did it work? No idea, but it did. The chamber fell silent again. Morrison was next, explaining the tactical applications. Sometimes the best strategy is to hit something really hard and see what happens. That's not a strategy, protested a military advisor from the Korvax Union. That's barely even a plan. Yet, it worked better than your non-existent rescue attempts. The tension in the chamber grew until Johnson stood up. The billionaire looked completely relaxed, wearing a Hawaiian shirt to the formal council meeting. Can I say something? He asked. You're a civilian, Pretok protested. You shouldn't even be here. I'm the civilian whose space Jews helped save your fleet. I think I've earned speaking rights. Vexara nodded. Proceed, Mr. Johnson. You're all missing the point. You're trying to understand how we did it, but you should be asking why we did it. For the alliance between our species, someone suggested. Johnson laughed. No, we did it because someone said we couldn't. Tell a human something's impossible and we take it as a challenge. Tell us nobody's ever done it before, and we'll try to be the first. Tell us it's certain death and we'll ask, but what if it isn't? He pulled out a flask from his shirt pocket. Security moved forward, but he waved them off. This is some of the space juice we made. Fermented grain alcohol mixed with Zalathi fuel residue and a catalyst I found in my lab. Every scientist here would say it shouldn't exist. It should have exploded or dissolved or done nothing at all. But it worked. He took a sip. Several aliens gasped. You're drinking rocket fuel. Thylene asked. Yeah, it's not bad. Little spicy. That should kill you. Probably. But it hasn't yet. Observer Zekval stood to deliver his final report. The small purple alien had developed a nervous twitch since the mission. Honored Council, I present my official observation report. The humans succeeded through a combination of factors. Complete disregard for safety protocols, creative use of inappropriate technology, excessive use of explosives, and something they call winging it. Define winging it, Vexara requested. Making up solutions as you go along and hoping they work. That's terrifying. Yes, but effective. The council debated for hours. Some members wanted to ban humans from all future rescue operations. Others wanted to study their methods. A few wanted to hire them immediately. Finally, Commander Thylene asked to speak. Honored Council, I was there. I watched my ship, the pride of the Zalathi fleet, be modified with kitchen appliances. I saw my crew learn to hit things with hammers as a repair method. I witnessed the humans detonate 40 nuclear weapons and call it pretty. She paused, looking around the chamber. And I'm alive because of it. My entire crew is alive because of it. The humans didn't save us despite their insanity. They saved us because of it. What are you suggesting? Vexara asked. I'm suggesting we stop trying to understand them and start learning from them. Yes, their methods are unorthodox. Yes, they're dangerous, but they solve problems we can't because they don't know they shouldn't be able to. Wextor, the Zalathi engineer, stood beside his commander. I second this. I've learned more about improvised engineering in 1 week with humans than in 50 years at the Academy. Did you know you can fix a quantum processor by hitting it? I didn't. It shouldn't work. But it does. You've been corrupted by their methods, Prettok accused. Yes, Wextor agreed happily. And I've never been more effective. The debate continued until Chen spoke up again. You know what? You don't have to like our methods. You don't have to understand them. But next time you have a problem you can't solve, you'll call us. You know why? Why? Vexara asked. Because we're the ones crazy enough to try. The vote was called. The results were overwhelming. Earth would receive full membership in the Galactic Council, with a special designation as Emergency Response Specialists. There are conditions, Vexara announced. First, humans must establish a department of dangerous ideas to warn other species before implementing solutions. Fair, Chen agreed. Second, all human rescue operations must include at least one non-human observer, for documentation purposes, as long as they can keep up. Third, please stop using kitchen appliances in quantum drives. Rodriguez raised his hand. What about bathroom appliances? What? Joking, mostly. Fourth, Vexara continued, looking tired. Mr. Johnson must share the formula for space juice with the council. No way, Johnson said. Trade secret. It could revolutionize fuel technology. It could also explode and take out half a station. You really want that formula? Vexara considered this. On second thought, please keep it to yourself. As the meeting concluded, Kreltok approached Chen. Captain, you realize what you've done? Saved a fleet? More than that. You've changed the galaxy's perception of humanity. Before you were seen as primitive and reckless. Now you're seen as primitive, reckless, and inexplicably effective. That's an improvement, right? For humans. Yes, for the rest of us who have to work with you, the jury is still out. Back on Sanctuary Station, the human crews were celebrating in a bar that had quickly learned to stock Earth alcohol. The alien crews of the rescued fleet had joined them, leading to the galaxy's strangest party. Morrison was teaching a group of Zalathi officers a drinking game that involved nuclear physics equations. Rodriguez was showing Wextor how to make improvised repairs using chewing gum and paper clips. Johnson was at the bar mixing his space juice with various alien beverages to see what would happen. You know, Kim said to Chen, this whole thing is going to become a legend. Probably not a good one, Chen replied. Watching a Korvax engineer learn to arm wrestle. Will be the cautionary tale about what happens when you let humans help. Or the inspiring story about thinking outside the box. The box was there for a reason. We destroyed the box, and saved everyone in the process. Eileen approached their table carrying what looked like a glowing blue drink. Captain Chen, may I join you? Of course. What are you drinking?